Welcome to Detangle, where we untangle the complexities of life one conversation at a time. I'm your host, Dr. Kinjal Goel, a psychologist and a writer. We have with us today Malaika Arora, a dancer, an actress, a fitness enthusiast, and the lady of the moment with her own show, Moving In with Malaika on Disney Hotstar. Welcome, Malaika. Thank you so much for joining me today.
So thank you for having me, Kinjal. Thank you so much.
Well, it's a pleasure, Malaika. Let's get started. There are so many questions. I don't think we can do justice in about 30 minutes, but let's see how far we can go.
Sure, shoot away. I will answer to the best of my ability.
We're looking forward. So tell me, Malaika, let's take a quick peek into your childhood. Did you always envision a life of glamour and fitness, or were your dreams a little different as a child or a teenager?
Uh, wow. Honestly, I don't quite remember exactly what my dreams back then as a child. I guess I was just somebody who was just growing up because I
Mhm.
suddenly found myself growing up too soon and trying to figure out what I want with my life. So no, glamour and fitness were not really part of my agenda. Dance definitely was, because dance has been an integral part of my life since I was a kid. So yes, I always thought I would probably just be a really accomplished dancer, or I would probably study dance further, kind of join an academy or something like that. I really did think that would be the step that I would take. um, I was a fairly good psychology student, so
Oh,
that was
really?
that was something else that kind of crossed my mind in college.
Hmm.
I guess I've always been very good with kids, with teaching. I've been very good with that in my growing up years. So I just thought that that was again something I would probably pursue, and I thought it would be my calling. But of course, life has different different ideas and dreams for you, which one never ever thought of. So yeah, all of it just kind of happened by chance. To be very honest, literally everything in my life has happened by chance.
Wow. I never knew the psychology part of your background, so that's intriguing for me. Well, you've stayed in this business and relevantly so for the last 2.5, 3 decades.
Mhm.
This requires a certain amount of emotional grit and resilience. So tell me, where does this come from? How do you tune into it?
Yeah, I would say 3 decades. Wow, that's a really long time. And like you said, a certain amount of grit, resilience, uh, consistency, all of it is very, very important. And I think for me to have survived this long in a business where women don't really survive that long. I mean, most women I know have probably peaked in their careers and they've taken a break. They've completely decided to give a complete hiatus to their career of and then moved away, got married, children. A lot of them have now made comebacks. I think a
Right.
lot of that's been pretty much the pattern of sorts for women. I don't know, but I've just somehow managed to just be around for the last 3 decades and be relevant, as you said. And to be relevant is very, very difficult in a business where things change, tides change. There's a new flavor of the season, every now and then. So to actually stay above the game, hold your head up high, and be relevant is very, very difficult. But I don't know, somewhere I think for me, two things I think of being staying relevant. One is consistency, and one is constantly reinventing myself.
Hmm.
I never really, I was never part of any sort of a rat race. I never was trying to, be a top notch heroine or be the best. I was never in that sort of space. I somehow felt I needed to carve a niche for myself, which genuinely I felt it was. I mean, in all these years, I don't think there was anybody in that category, in that niche that I'd created of being this girl, a sex symbol of sorts, somebody you kind of desire,
Right.
and then comes on screen and then takes over the whole space of doing songs in films, which was literally that kind of took the credit in a film where you would kind of say, oh my god, that song just kind of was the highlight of the film. So there was nobody really in that space who was doing any of that. So like I said, I just kind of made a niche for myself. I was in the industry and yet I was not completely both legs in the industry. I just kind of had this great love affair going on with the industry, and I love it. And to date, I still have it. I still have this amazing you know place, or this amazing love, or this amazing, like I said, a love affair that I continue to have, which is amazing. So I'm not really a full-fledged heroine, I'm not a full-fledged producer or whatever, but I still continue to be part of the industry purely because of all the number of songs that I've done, and I continue to do, and I really do get a lot of love for that. And of course, over the years, I've kind of, like I said, being consistent and constantly revamping yourself and remolding yourself and rejigging yourself is very important, uh, and I think fitness plays a very, very important part in that. I've never let myself go. I've never
Hmm.
ever let myself, kind of just take a slump. Never. I've
Right.
always tried to be on top of my game. I've always tried to look a certain way. I've always tried to be a certain way. I've always, and like I said, I've never competed with anybody. I mean, even in today's day and age, there are girls half my age, and yet I still hold my own. I still stand my space, and I'm not competing with any one of them. Even though every second day I'm always compared to somebody half my age, which I think is I don't know why, but I still am. But like I said, I really have managed to just kind of carve my own niche and just stay in that space of mine.
It's a very subtle but yet very powerful space, which is lovely.
Absolutely. I've never really tried, like I said, I've never tried too hard. I've never tried to be part of the number game or compete with somebody. I've always said I've just been my own world, literally. I do my thing. I give it my best. I'm thoroughly professional. I don't get swayed by what's going on around me. So literally
Hmm.
it's my world that kind of exists for me.
So tell me, Malaika, I would describe you as somebody who is distractingly beautiful. But does that happen to you? Do people find it hard to take you seriously just because you're so stunning?
Well, thank you so much for saying that. But I think initially, when you come into this business, you're judged for the way. I mean, if you're constantly judged for the way you look, right?
Hmm.
Oh, she gets work because she looks a certain way. Oh, she gets work because she has a sexy attitude. Oh, she gets, so that's a constant thing where you're judged for your looks. Unfortunately, that goes with the territory.
Hmm.
But I think spanning over 3 decades is not you can't just survive on your looks, right? I mean, at some point those looks are going to fade away. You, at the end of the day, it is your professionalism, it is what you bring to the table, it is your hard work, it is your constant thirst and your constant need to be better, right? That is what
Right.
eventually is going to hold you, high. It's not your just, I mean, yes, I'm really grateful for my looks. I'm really grateful for all of that. But like I said, all of that fades with time. You have to literally go beyond that. And that is the trick, and that is how you stay relevant. If you can actually go beyond your looks, then you can stay relevant.
True. Well, let's talk about your work. Now, this has been applauded and enjoyed by the audiences, and there is no question about it. But it's always empowering for the same audience to unleash their prudish side, especially on social media, and to judge the same work that they've thoroughly enjoyed. So, now how did you deal with this earlier, and how do you deal with it now? So much has changed in this whole ecosystem.
And it will continue to change. I mean, there will be enough and more chatter. There'll be enough and more, people who will have good to say and bad to say. And unfortunately, we are living in a time of social media, which has literally taken over every aspect of our lives.
Hmm.
So you're constantly going to be judged, like for whatever it may be, for the work that you've, like, sometimes you kind of done so much in your life, so much, you've kind of achieved so much, you've kind of put yourself out there, your love for that, your fans adore you for that, and yet there will always be a section of society or section of social media that will say, oh, what does she do, just
Hmm.
just about shakes her hips or dances, that is all that she has to her credit. So you kind of wonder, I mean, is there no pleasing, people? But then at the end of the day, you can't please everybody. You have to just keep going until the day you realize that, listen, i think I think I've done enough, and now I need to hang up my boots, right?
Right.
So I think till then, till you have it in you, till you have that fire in your belly, till you have that will and that urge to want to be better, I don't think anything or anybody can slow you down. And I feel in today's day and age, the opportunities are endless, are literally endless. Now, whether it's on television, whether it's in films, whether it's producing, whether it is OTT, whether it is businesses, the opportunities are just, it's limitless. So I genuinely feel, as a woman working today, for me, my opportunities are limitless. I don't feel boxed at all. I feel there is a new opportunity waiting and knocking at my door every single day. Every single day, and somewhere I feel very, very happy about the fact that I've done it on my own. I've not never relied on anybody. I've never ever felt the need. I've never needed a crutch in my life. The only support that I've had, a support system, is your family, right? That's your friends
True.
and family that are your support system. But in terms of a crutch, or in terms of somebody pushing me or giving, no, I have done it all on my own. I have managed to, I've managed to work with amazing people who have, and time and again, who have come back to work with me. It's not like a one off thing. I mean, I've worked with them, and then eventually I worked with them over and over again. So I think that speaks volumes for any artist. When somebody keeps coming back to you to work with you, that means it really does speak volumes. That means you're doing something right. So, like I said, I genuinely have done it all on my own, with a great support system and amazing people that I've met over my time, over the entire trajectory of my career, that I've met and I've had the opportunity to work with. But like somebody said that I give myself all credit, because I have worked very hard to be where I am today, and I will take all credit for it.
How nice. I mean, why not? And more power to you.
Exactly. Yeah, I will take. I mean, I'm not even going to shy away from it. And I will. I have had people who have had, I've met amazing people along the way who have only helped me, uh, get better at what I'm doing, who have
Hmm.
just, who have kind of been there along my, but I've never had anybody hand holding me, or, kind of never. So for that, I will take full credit for the person that I am, or the success, or my shortcomings, all of it. I take full credit, and I completely will give myself credit for that.
This is so powerful for all the listeners, for all my audiences right now. There are so many women who have done it on their own and yet shy away from taking
They're
credit.
tired. I think they're very scared about that pat on their back. They're constantly waiting for that validation, for somebody to give them that pat on their back. I guess I'm no different. There was a time in my life when I was younger where I was looking for that
Hmm.
pat on my back and that kind of validation. And the woman that I am today, I'm fine. I'm okay with not having that. I'm absolutely, I mean, yes, everybody, you get an award, you're appreciated. Everybody loves that. Everybody loves that kind of validation. But I'm not looking for that. I'm not seeking it. I'm not looking for that pat on my back and saying, wow, fantastic. And no, I will give myself that pat on my back. I will tell myself every morning that, you know what, you're doing a fantastic job. Get up and let's take over and rule the world, and let's do something bigger and better today. I will say that to myself. I will say it to myself a million times, and I will make sure that that's what propels me every day of my life.
How nice. So, tell me, Malaika, you've aced the social media space. The numbers say it all. But do you also feel the urge to peep into the comments once in a while? Do you find trolls there? Do you feel vulnerable when you go into that space?
There was, again there was a time where I was very vulnerable and susceptible to all of that. Now I've hardened myself, I have insulated myself, and I've completely now blocked that side of my life out. Yes, I'm on social media. I use it as a tool to my advantage
Hmm.
completely. I mean, I use it for my work. I use it for a certain amount of recreation, which is just the amount that I want to put out there. No, I don't want to look into trolls. I don't want to peep into comments. I don't, because it's a very, very, very toxic space to kind of, once you let yourself go down that space, let me tell you, it's damning. It
Hmm.
messes your head up. It really does. And I'm sure there are a lot of people who do it. No judgment. There was a time where I did it. With time, I have learned, and I will not go down that space ever again, because it's not healthy. It's too toxic a space, and I want to be happy. I don't want anybody to dull my shine. I want to be able to wake up every morning feeling amazing about myself. And if somebody out there is going to, even minutely, even by a point, going to dull that for me. I don't need that. Tata, goodbye. I don't need it at all.
True. Now let's talk about fitness, Malaika. A lot of people understand fitness, understand a good body as a product of just nutrition or, working out. But as a psychologist, I understand it's a very, very intense discipline in the mind. So
Absolutely.
has this been a struggle for you to keep the mind in check, or has that been your kind of superpower?
I think that's my superpower. You've nailed it. You said it bang on. When somebody asks me, I say that's my superpower. My mind touch is very strong, and I am very, very, very strong and motivated as a person. I
Hmm.
don't treat fitness as, hey, my body's got to look good, hey, today I got, I have to be 3 kilos down or 2 inches smaller. I don't look at it that way. I'm very proud of my body because I've worked very hard on it, but of course it is also a mind thing, because
Hmm.
I'm extremely disciplined as a person. I know people around me are like, oh, come on, but no, I will do that hard work. I will put in that hard work. If i have if i have worked out, if I have worked late, or if I've had a late night, of whatever, out with my friends or whatever, I will still wake up in the morning, and I will still be on the mat. I will still do my yoga session, or I will do my whatever it may be, whether it's my yoga, my pilates, whatever. I will be there in the morning. I may be there 1 hour later, because I may feel I need 1 hour extra sleep, but I will not miss it. So no matter what, and people around me are like, why? It's okay, man. Like, I know it. I mean, I know my sister will say to me, she'll be like, chill. Her perennial to me is like, chill. Why can't you just chill? I'm like, trust me, I'm very chill, but this is me.
Right.
I I'm a very disciplined person, and I owe my every what I do out there, what I put out there, my work, I owe it to my fans. I owe it to the people who want to watch me. I owe it to the channels that pay me that kind of money to be on their channel. I owe it to them, and I need to be a certain way. I'm not going to let that slip and slide just because I've had a heavy night. That
True.
that ain't going to stop me. So I know, as a psychologist, I'm sure you deal with so many people having different ways of dealing with things differently. For me, this is my motivation. This is my superpower. The fact that I can wake up every single day and push myself and say, you know what? It's a new day. I'm going to be better today. I'm going to, for me, I need to stay in the game as long as I can. And if
Well, that's
that means
incredible.
I need to be at my optimum, so be it. Nothing and no one can stop me from that then.
I mean, truly incredible. And I have been watching you for, all these years. And even today, you have a new show. You have a dance show on TV. You've been doing dance numbers. There is Moving In with Malaika. All this is not a piece of cake, right? This is not just a walk in the garden. So I'm sure you do get tired physically, emotionally. So how do you pick yourself up on those days when you're really run down?
Of course I do. I'm human. I will. I have my days where I'm exhausted. My body will not let me my body just doesn't let me get out of bed, or I've had a day where I'm just really low emotionally, physically, mentally, and I just want to have a good cry. There are
Hmm.
days when I feel ridiculously bloated. I'm PMSing. I'm irritable. I mean, come on, I'm human. There are days where I don't want to see anybody's face. My son annoys the shit out of me because he said something which pisses me off. So these things are normal. I think it's all fine, and you have to listen to your body. You got to listen to your system. For me, sometimes I feel like a good cry helps me. It just helps me just detox.
Oh, it does. It's so underrated.
It's
People
so
don't get it.
I'm telling you two things, highly underrated, highly, is a good night's sleep and a good cry. People underrate it so much. They don't realize it. And I feel like literally just shut everything off, have a good night's sleep, or just sleep through the afternoon, and I feel better. Or if I'm, like I said, if I'm really emotionally high strung or drained, a good cry really helps me. I mean, people say, you know, sometimes a good chat with a friend, or something like that can really make you think, just kind of make you feel better. So I think these are the things that really kind of help, and I it helps me for sure. So yes, I have terrible days. There are terrible, terrible days, but I have my ways of dealing with it. I have my ways of I don't fight it. I deal with it. It's very important.
Yeah, to
Do
accept
that.
it and then
To
to move on.
accept it. Fighting it is not the solution. Dealing with it is the solution.
True. So, is there something that you can tell me which was extremely important, to you in your earlier years, but is absolutely not important to you anymore?
Yeah. I think the need of people or friendships in your life. When you're
Hmm.
younger, you want to make new friends and be surrounded by lots of people because you feel that's what is popular or that's what is nice. Now I'm the kind of person, I don't want too many people around me. I have whittled myself down to a handful of people because I don't like excessive people in my life. I don't like excessive unnecessary, friendships in my life. I find that very, very tiring. I find that very it takes up too much of my energy. I need a certain kind of energy around me, which is uh in terms of people, right? I find certain people very draining.
Hmm.
I
True.
try and distance myself, no matter how much that may hurt or maybe, but I have to distance myself from any kind of somebody who drains my energies. I can't be next to people like that. So yes, I feel from as youngsters, we want to have lots of people around us and have all of that. And as we get older, you kind of just need the bare minimum around you, literally.
Right. Is there any, beautifully heartwarming memory that you have across your career? Anything that comes to mind as the most beautiful memory you've had in this profession?
Oh my God, there have been so many. How can I can never ever, you know, just that one is very tough for me. But I've had such amazing, I mean, I don't know, so many amazing memories. Yeah, so many. I mean, right from the time I started, whether it was working with some of the most brilliant photographers in the country who would, literally call me their muse. They would be like, you know, th- you are,
Oh, that's, yeah.
so I feel, just something like that. Or being told over the years that, that you've that you've just gotten better with time and age. You've kind of uh there's, I mean, also when somebody just turns around and tells you, listen, there's nobody like you. Over the years we've had the opportunity of working or shooting with so many people, but there's no one like you. So I guess these are things when somebody tells you, they really kind of stick with you, they really kind of make you feel amazing. It just kind of, you just kind of feel ki chalo, I'm doing something right in my profession. So yeah, I think I find that one thing is very tough. I just think, like I said, when I was told very early on in my life by the most brilliant photographers that I was their muse, and that just kind of just made me feel amazing.
How nice is that? I mean, such a simple but powerful validation within the
Yeah,
industry.
that's it. Yeah, that's it. Something as small but just kind of takes you through life and just makes you feel so amazing.
How nice. So tell me, there is this very fine balance between ambition and contentment, right?
Yeah.
So you seem to be walking the line for so many years. You're content, but you're ambitious. You've had it all and you want it all. So how do you kind of walk this line? How do you draw the balance between
I
them?
don't think I've had it all. I'm very hungry. I am constantly, uh, uh, you know, constantly wanting more. I'm very, very ambitious, highly ambitious. See, contentment is very different. I think contentment comes with a certain amount of financial stability.
True.
Contentment comes with probably finding that right partner in your life, where you say, okay, chalo, now I'm content and now I don't need to do anything. So I think contentment is very different for different people. For me, as from the person that I am, and from where I've grown up, from a very, very middle class kind of a family, where financially we were not very, very stable. Those were the years, my growing up years. So obviously, for me, being financially stable and independent is very important, is a
Mhm.
very it has a lot of weightage in my life. So for me, I will like every time somebody tells me, but chill, calm down, you've done so much, you've earned so much. I'm like, no, what, I don't ever feel that's enough. I always feel, no, there's more that I can do, and there's more that I can. So I feel, like I said, it comes from a certain sense of of my growing up years, where maybe I was not financially stable.
Right.
We didn't come from that kind of a background. So for me, that is very, very important. Very important. So that kind of, I will always strive harder, because I will always feel ki nahi, nahi, it's not enough. I still can do more, and I still need to buy myself that home, or take my parents on a holiday, or give. I will always feel that I need to strive a little more, because I need to get achieve that little more, so that I can have that luxury in my life. Let's
Yeah,
put
so
it
it's
like
that
that.
adversity fueling the fire.
It's always like that. So it's just that sense of ki, nahi. And of course, very, very ambitious, highly ambitious. And I'm the kind of person that I can't sit still. I'm not somebody who can sit still. I need to constantly, I need to constantly be doing things to kind of fuel this energy of mine.
Yeah, to be stimulated intellectually, to be stimulated in your work.
Constantly, yes, constantly.
So tell me, Malaika, what annoys you the most about people? That one thing that you wish people would just stop doing.
Oh God. Oh, talking too much. I think people today have an opinion about everything, man. I mean, it's like freedom of speech is great, but I just wish some people would just now refrain from having an opinion about everything. I find that so tiring. I find that so exhausting. I'm like, shit, man. I mean, use that time and energy for something a little more constructive, than just sitting down and having opinions and judging people all the time. I just find that really very, 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 very draining. So, yeah, that pisses me off. Of course, I'm the kind of person I am very, very particular. I have an issue. I mean, I hate it when people are don't value people's time. I find that very, very annoying. I have an issue with certain amount of laziness. For me, somebody else may turn around and say, you may think it's lazy, but we think it's just. I don't like too much of procrastinating, and I feel if you put your mind to something, try and make it work. Don't procrastinate too much. So these are a few things that I'm very, very. That is now, whether it's a good part of me or whether it is a not so good, I don't know, but that's just my personality.
Yeah, and it's a part of you, and why not?
Yeah. Like I said,
Let's
for me, I may feel like that. Somebody else may turn around and say, "Ki, okay, you may feel, but that's really not the be all and end all." But that's how I am.
fair enough. So tell me, let's talk about mental health. It's a very deeply personal question. I've asked this question to all my guests and had some amazing answers. So, you know what's a physical first aid box, right? A box where we keep little band aids, antiseptic, painkillers, and all of us have it at home for those minor cuts and bruises.
Hmm.
But what if you were to have a mental first aid box? Something you could just open and feel happy on some of those days where you feel run down emotionally and you want a little pick me up. So, if
Hmm.
you had to make a box like this just for yourself, what would you put in it?
That's such a beautiful thought, actually. Literally, that should be a chapter in a book, actually. Wow.
There's
I
just
would.
so much that makes you happy, na? But you
I
don't
mean,
have it accessible at all times.
yeah. I guess yes. Another thing which people don't take very seriously is mental health. I mean, a lot of people said, like when we were little, I mean,
Hmm.
we used to cope with so much, but nobody quite realized the importance of mental health. Like when we were young, if we were going through something, we were acting up, or we were, whatever, we would get two thappads and say, literally, our parents would give us two slaps and say, come on, move on, like get on with it. Not actually realizing that we were actually dealing with something. That's probably why we were reacting.
Right.
Now, thankfully, we have so much available to us, in terms of external help. If you've identified that you're dealing with something, there's so much of external help that you can get. I mean, not always can you get this help from your near and dear ones, because they're not quite sure as to how to deal with it, right? They're also kind of literally walking through the dark and figuring how or why somebody is behaving a certain way. So now you have so much of external help, which is fantastic, which we didn't really have when we were little. So we didn't quite realize that what we were actually going through.
True.
But having said that, if there was a box that I had to put things into it, uh I mean, I'm not somebody who, I'm not an escapist at all. I
Hmm.
I guess in my younger days, I used to shove everything under the carpet, everything, and not deal with anything because I thought that was the best way to deal with it. And that's largely a large part of my personality. With time, I've realized that I have to deal with certain things. I have to approach it. I have to talk about it. I have to address it. So yes, with time, I've learned ki chalo, I have to. I can't just sweep it under the carpet because that ain't gonna help any longer, like the way it did when I was a child. Um, so yeah, I'm trying to think if I have to put what into the box. I would. For me, I know frivolous as it may sound, holidays really help me.
Oh, they're magical. I mean, holidays heal. Why not?
They really heal me. They really do. And that holiday could vary from anything. Could be a detox I mean, I really do that every now and then. Actually, every time I feel like my batteries are running low, my energies are running low, I feel physically, mentally drained, I take off and I go to any one of these places which predominantly uh, deals with detoxing, right? So
Okay.
so whether it is going to an Ananda or a Vana or a Viva Maya or any of these, any of there are so many places. I love going to these because I feel it really kind of resets everything.
Hmm.
That's something I love a holiday. I really do. For me, that's probably number one on my list of things. Just taking off. I need to just be able to take off and go someplace where I can recharge every
How
time.
nice. You can put a little aeroplane in your box.
Yeah, literally, that's something, or tickets, an aeroplane or tickets into my box.
Both work.
Um, well, you know, I think for me, of course, a whole lot of memories that I hold on to, which always kind of puts me in a good space.
Hmm.
Certain memories, certain thoughts, which kind of bring back good. They kind of
Good
remind me of
vibes.
good times. Music is again something that reminds me of certain times in my life or certain moments or whatever. So that food is something else that really uh, keeps me happy, and I don't look at food as a crutch.
Hmm.
I look at food as something that is very, you know,
It nourishes you, fuels you.
it nourishes me internally. It just kind of puts and I love. So whether it means feeding somebody, cooking for somebody, feeding myself, so it's
Hmm.
that's the process. I think the whole process of having to do that is something that really nourishes me. So that's why I love going to places also, which is like a culinary upliftment for me. Places where food or wine or tasting or things like that. I really love that. For me, of course, my yoga is something that I really, really, I put my yoga mat in it as well. Um, so yeah, these are some of the things that really help
Yeah,
me
that sounds like a really holistic box. I mean,
reboot myself.
how beautiful. Thanks so much for sharing that with us. Before we come to a close of this beautiful conversation, Malaika, I always leave the floor open to my guest. Is there a question that you would like to ask me as a psychologist?
How was it talking to me? Is there anything that you can gauge? Is there anything that you feel that you, as a psychologist, is there something that you catch on, or is there something that you feel? I mean, you don't know me. You just know me from what you see, and now you speak to me. Is there is what is your assessment, or what is it that you feel?
I think it's very easy for people to misunderstand you.
Mm.
Like you said, your work has been extremely, it has been there for so many decades, but you've done it all so well. I believe I took you on for my podcast. I actually requested you to join me simply because I feel that what people know of you, people who know you, is very different from what people just see you.
Hmm.
And that there's this whole bridge, which, is not something that everybody can cross unless
No.
they hear you talk,
Yeah.
and that's an effort most people don't take. So it's very easy to see somebody on screen and say, oh, what is this, this is only dance, and like you said, oh, what does she do? She just is dancing or moving her hips and earning a nice bit of money through it. But there's a lot that goes behind it, which is why I wanted to talk to you, to learn about this, to learn from you firsthand, what you've done in your life, the whole resilience, the grit, what goes in the background. Now for me, this is new that you have a background in psychology, then you have yoga in your life. All these are dots which form a beautiful pattern. It's just so unseen for everyone. So even for me, it was not something I knew. But it's fantastic to find these patterns in people, which
Yeah, I'm
I
sure.
found with you.
Yeah, I guess that's why I said, you can't sit down and explain things to everybody. At the end of the day, you only let that many people into your life, and that many people who are privy to your ups and downs and your highs and lows. Everybody else builds, and everybody kind of, conjures up a certain kind of an image in their head purely by what they see. Now, if I'm going to sit down and try to change that every day of my life, not
It's
only am I going
impossible.
to not only am I going to gray before my time, I'm going to just be a miserable person. I'm going to be miserable. And I don't have the bandwidth for that. I'm too content with myself. I am. And I, like I said, I have no qualms about saying it. I'm very happy and content with myself.
So, what has happened nowadays, Malaika, is everybody has their own echo chambers, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So they live in that little echo and they only listen to what they have said and it comes back to them.
yeah,
So you tend to hear only what you put out. You tend to see only what you want to see.
yeah.
So it is through these conversations that I like to break these echoes and I like to
These
break.
barriers. Yeah,
So yeah, just
absolutely.
open out and just want to hear people's stories. And it's amazing. I mean, I find every story amazing because nobody has had a simple, normal life.
And no two stories will be, same. I mean, they might be similar, but not same.
Absolutely.
Everybody has a different road that they have walked upon, a different path that they have tread, a different trajectory in life. Everybody has a different story to tell. So I'm sure it's amazing every time you do a podcast and you have to listen to them. I think it's quite,
It's
it's quite
amazing,
amazing.
truly.
It is, I'm sure. I don't know how therapeutic it is, but I'm sure it is very insightful, if nothing
It's
else.
insightful, it's
Yeah.
inspiring. It's lovely to share these stories with my listeners. And I think our conversation today has given me a massive takeaway. I'm taking back this whole idea of being unabashedly proud and taking credit where it is due for yourself. And I
Absolutely.
hope a lot more women do it. A lot of people work in women empowerment. You may
Yeah.
not label yourself as an activist, but this is exactly what you're doing through your work.
That's what I said. Somebody asked me this very recently. I said, what matters to me is if I can actually inspire and even a small, a section of people out there. For me, that's what matters.
Oh,
Truly does.
yes. And I'm
I
sure
think
this is going to do that.
in today's day and age, for me, I think that is the one takeaway. If you have to ask me, is if I can inspire a section of society out there, then that means I've done my job well. I've done something right for that to happen. Literally.
I'm sure this is going to go in that direction. I can't wait to get this episode out there. And I'm just so grateful for your time. I'm so grateful for
No, no, no.
having
Please
connected
don't
with
don't
you.
embarrass me by saying all of this. I just wish you all the very best and may it be a fantastic season. I'm glad I could do it. I know I've been a little difficult because I've been living out of a suitcase, literally. This is the first week I've had, and literally first yesterday I got back at night and I said today I have to do it. It's the first week that I have at home chilling, so I feel okay, I can accomplish a lot of things that I need to do at home, literally.
But really, thank you so much. It has been an amazing conversation. And I
Thank you
wish
so
you
much.
all the best in all your endeavors. And I hope in the coming decade we see lots of new things from you.
Inshallah, I look forward to that. I always do.